This episode of Super Pulp Science is brought to you by the Kickstarter of Dire Beasts. Go to Kickstarter.com and search Dire Beasts. That's D-I-R-E Beasts.
Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made. I am Jim B. Kamichuk. I am your host. I am a working writer and artist, and I am here with my long-suffering co-host, Justin Curry, who is known the world over as Chasing Artwork, and producer extraordinaire, Dan Vadeboncoeur. Gentlemen.
We found outside our door waiting for us this morning.
I was camped out.
Like a lost man. We were just 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's no big deal. You just freaked me out coming out of the cargo elevator there. I wasn't aware.
You never saw anyone spring through the
No, and I'm right next to it as you come out.
It's like one of the highlights of this studio space is we are across the hall from the freight elevator and being able to load things in and out. My God.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun to when you're down there, that little weird tunnel or whatever it is in the building when you unload it. It's kind of cool.
May I also say, since we're on the topic, I didn't know we were going here, but here we are now. It's also really handy if suddenly it turns out your huge pallet order of books from Friesens is arriving and you get a phone call from Justin while he's on a plane to New York or Chicago or somewhere, and he's like, hey, do you mind unloading 2.5 tons of material?
It was only 1,000 books.
I think you told the story on the podcast.
Yes, but we're looking at the schedule recently at how the New York Comic Con lines up with 2 book deliveries. And guess who's in the building while everyone else is gone? It's little old me.
Oh, well.
Little old me. And I was like, oh, it's okay. I'll ask Steven. He'll come in and help. He's a studio guy now. Nope, he's with you.
He's with me. I've taken him.
I've taken him. Every able-bodied member of the studio.
I was walking down a beach in Halifax in like one of the most beautiful places in Canada. It's where like it's got the biggest tide difference in like the world, where like the tide goes out to such a degree and comes into such a degree. Like it's dangerous at certain points of the day, but it's just the way the ocean meets with whatever. And so you just get to like walk around this like emptied part of the ocean for a couple hours before the sea comes back in. And while I'm walking on the ocean floor, I get a call from Friesen saying, the books are on their way. Are you there? And then I frantically call Gregory and with spotty reception go like, hey, my trip's great, but can you go to the studio and unload 1,000 books for me?
I'm calling from the bottom of the ocean. Oh my God. So yeah, there's lots of interesting stuff going on. One of the things that's going to be delivered around that time is likely, if all goes according to plan, knock on wood, our Dire Beast Kickstarter fulfillment, which is, I guess at the time this podcast will go live, is still underway. So if you love independent horror comics and you want to pick up 14 great creepy tales where the one rule is that every story has to have a monster, look up Dire Beast on Kickstarter. That's the commercial portion of our show.
Links in bio.
Right, link is in the bio. So excited about that project.
I'm very excited.
We made Justin Book Boss, which is why I'm also excited, because if it doesn't work, it's your responsibility.
So like part of I came up with this we did Dead Work together. A whole bunch of artists did Dead Work, which was kind of an anthology of short comic projects that didn't really have a place in print. People made comics and they just like, it wasn't enough to print a book of it. They couldn't find anywhere to take it. So we did Dead Work, and all of us got to put these comics that just didn't, they were dead. They weren't going anywhere. But once they're all together, Dead Work, it made up an anthology, and it was
little orphans all in a pile. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you work in way darker.
That was one of the early titles that you set aside.
That's right. That was the working file.
Anyway,
the project was a success. We all had so much fun making it. We wanted to do something else, and so at Prairie Comics last year, we were throwing around ideas. And my idea was I want to do like a little.
That was less than a year ago.
Yeah,
and we have it all done together.
We did exactly what we said we were going to do.
It felt so long, so much longer, but no, that's only been a year.
Because books usually take longer.
Yeah, they usually take a while. And one of the reasons, dear listener, is not because anybody cut corners, but because there's 14 contributors, and each person has 10 pages. So a year to do 10 pages of comics is no problem. But when you put them all in one place, all on theme.
I remember you bragging about getting yours done early, too.
I feel so good. Oh, yeah, it was good. If I had known how inadequate I'd feel next to Stephen Call's pages and Scott Henderson's pages that when they came in, I may have not been so proud to be done early. Just saying. That's there's some good content in there.
But it's like part of the great thing about this Dire Beast project is the kind of the variety in styles and like even, you know, the artistic journey that everybody's on. Like some people are like Scott Henderson is, you know, Marvel DC level artist. And then we have people that this is their very first publication, right? Like, so it's a charcuterie board of monster stories and styles and levels. So, which I think is always like part of my favorite part of anthologies. Like my favorite anthology series is Flight, and mostly fantasy and sci-fi kind of stories, but just the range of styles. Like it's, as long as you're on theme, it doesn't really matter like where you are level wise. And I always found that kind of fun to go from, you know, like high end movie, video game, professional artwork to like looks like somebody's very first comic.
The difference to me in that range is easy to separate from the following idea, which is everyone had 10 pages and everyone suffered the same amount, right? No matter where you were in your comics journey, people feel like, oh, if you've got these accolades or you have these publications, must be somehow easier. No, I can promise you, page of illustration at the beginning of your career and in the middle of your career and maybe at the end, it's the same level of suffering. It's difficult. You're starting with that blank page every time, and you're just doing the best you can.
Let's quantify that
just doing
a
the
little
best
bit.
You can.
I find usually like 1 page a day is pretty true for me. And I remember reading that when I was first getting into illustration. I find it's true. I have 8 pages, and if I, you know, kind of actually add it all up, it was about a page a day is about what I can get done in comics.
Yeah. And I did mine as 2-page spreads, and so each half was roughly a day's worth.
Yeah.
And
so you find that's pretty true for you as well?
It's pretty true. It's pretty true. Unless, like, for example, in Eye Collector, there were pages where I intentionally broke with some normal comics rules and repeated panels. Like, so for example, here's a really specific. There is a character in Eye Collector who has no agency of her own because she's under the spell of the Eye Collector. And so we came up with this stylistic idea that she will always appear as the same panel, repeated. She can't change. She has no agency. And so pages that had 8 or 12 panels of her, of course, that's much easier because I'm literally copying and pasting the panel, and then we're relettering it. And so those pages were like literally 10 minutes of work. And so to offset that in my guilt, instead of being like, hooray, that was easy, I made some of the most complicated pages of art I have ever made on other pages. And so on average,
time went somewhere.
Yeah, the time went somewhere. On average, it probably works out to about a page a day. But some pages were literally 10 minutes and others were 5 days long. So bended. So we're working on another project right now called Last Breed. Scott Henderson, if you're listening, he does not follow the rule of his art director, which is we're just doing a close-up here. We don't need that background to be a 5-point perspective. He rejected my offer of an easy talking heads panel. No, I'm going to draw a huge fluted archway, high-tech facility with honeycombed patterning, and that's what's going to be behind them. Scott, those pages must be 25-hour pages. Like, I don't know how you did it. Actually, I do know because you told me it took you forever. But, sometimes you just can't break up with what you want to produce. And that can be a really hard part of making art professionally. It's what you want to do, what you have time to do, and what you're asked to do. Mm-hmm. This is not a one-to-one overlap.
No, those deadlines always approaching.
Oh, my goodness, there's your carpool. You really better hurry.
Yes, dear.
Even when there's, because I work digitally, because I can reuse backgrounds and assets and stuff like that, especially clouds and rocks are a big one for me, especially with storytelling. I like really cloudy skies and a couple rocks strewn about. And so I'll have a library of clouds and rocks ready to go. But even as the project's coming to a close and time is getting tight, I want to draw a new cloudy sky instead of reusing my clouds from previous pages. And the art part of me is I just want to draw clouds today. And the business hat part of me is you need to get these pages done and move on to other things. You can skip this work.
But it's not a bad thing to do that every once in a while because you do need more clouds. Otherwise, people are going to notice that you're using the same clouds all the time.
They don't.
Oh, someone will. Someone will. No, but
pointing it out.
You always want to refresh the stuff, right?
A subreddit of chasing artwork clouds. And if there isn't, please somebody make one and set us up. For sure there is. Yeah, it's just, also talking with Sam today, Samantha Biko, about Prairie Comics Festival, which is coming up mid.
It's a Winnipeg convention primarily for indie and comic artists and people with books.
Yes. I'm forgetting the exact date, but it's October, mid-October.
October 3rd, 4th.
Anyway, it's amazing. I can't wait. It's local, so that's good.
Shame on you for not knowing.
But we were talking about it's one Google away, dear listener, one Google away, Prairie Comics Festival. We were talking about how when you are in project management mode, how the artist part of you yearns to be involved. And so I wonder if the project management part of you, I'll just put this cloud here, or I'll just do this. This is time saver. The artist in you is just yearning to be involved. And so, I could draw those better.
Yeah, it's just whispering to you in them.
Yeah.
The double. October 5th and 6th.
I was close. I was really close.
It's not mid at all.
That's early.
That's early. That's the beginning of October. We have the Winnipeg Comic Con at the end.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm excited for that one. I am so excited for that con because it's going to be the first time in years that I have not been working on the weekend of Comic Con because I don't work at CTV anymore. I don't have any other things. I'm not organizing any cons or
So you
involved
can
with
make
it.
full use of our full pass. We'll give you.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, yes.
got
But I'm
your
also going to
passes
be
for it.
I booked the afternoon off work on the Friday. I'm going to spend all 3 days there and I really go to the con like I haven't done in years. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Just absorb whatever is on your mind to absorb.
Yeah, and see everything that they're to offer and probably buy some stuff and I might even cosplay.
Wow.
So we'll see. I'm feeling some inspiration.
Okay.
I'll see if I can work out the stuff. I'd like to do Herman Munster. I really would love to do Herman Munster cosplay. I've been watching the Munsters lately, and I think I could do it. But it's all about the proper headpiece,
Yeah.
I think. Anyway.
Ahead of its time, the Munsters.
It was. It's a really interesting show. Oh, anyway.
Really good. Okay, so, dear listener, before we started, often what happens when we're recording the podcast is a moment before we start recording, we will just gather our thoughts. We have a good producer who reminds us, gather those thoughts, get a little bit of a plan. It's okay if it evolves organically, but have somewhere to go. Justin decided not to play along today. He only gave us one word. He's like, I want to talk about consideration.
Oh, yeah.
But then he didn't explain why, and
Saving it for the podcast.
That's right.
We have too many juicy, great conversations before we hit record.
Right. So you saved it.
Saved it.
For the podcast. So the prompt word here is consideration. Under what context? What are the operational definitions?
Today's episode is brought to you by consideration. So I was thinking about this because I helped build the Dire Beast Kickstarter. Linda did a lot of heavy lifting. Everybody else did amazing artwork. But I was involved with building the Kickstarter for Dire Beast and then putting the book together, which is pretty simple.
Project management.
Yeah, people submit their pages. I plop them in. And then I'm also in charge of, putting together the bios page, and we have everybody's monsters in a bestiary, however you pronounce it.
And
section.
plop is technical, place layers on point.
Yep.
You plop it right in.
Oh, okay. I thought you were being like just using slang.
No, I made that up. Just because.
I wouldn't have known.
But as I'm, working on the Kickstarter and on the book, the whole time, it's almost like working on a client project. In the back of my mind, I'm imagining what these 13 other artists are going to think of my decisions and my designs and and what I'm doing. And that I feel that holds me back. I feel that like makes me more cautious than I usually am, and a little more like tied down's the wrong word, but like I'm hindered.
Hemmed in.
Something like that. Yeah. There's ghosts in the room with me.
So the documentary filmmakers will say a subject changes the moment they know they are observed.
That's physics too.
Right? Yes. Well, that's also photons. Yes. We could talk about quantum entanglement a little bit later, perhaps. But it's just knowing that a jury of your peers is 10 seconds away. Like once you send that PDF, notes are coming.
So what this kind of prompted was like now the Kickstarter's live on Direbeast and on Kickstarter. Go kickstarter.com/Direbeast. But what it did was it made me so excited for my next Kickstarter project, which is a book of my own where I have 100% control. And so in the last 2 days, instead of doing things I should have been doing,
right,
I worked on the Spark Chasers Kickstarter, which is nowhere near ready to launch, but I just wanted to play without anybody else to consider.
So let's just take a moment. We'll pause. And for the dear listeners' consideration, let's say when you are explaining worked on the Kickstarter, it means, dear listener, that you can create a project, you can start adding the details, the outlines, the images of that project before it goes live. And you can have that page, correct me if I'm wrong, for a year or two unlaunched with all of the
you never
details.
have to launch it. I have a couple of Kickstarters that are just kind of bare bones, like ideas, like half fleshed out and abandoned for now. Maybe I'll come back to them later. How I typically build my Kickstarter campaigns is I'll open up a big Adobe Illustrator document, and there's a couple different sections in a Kickstarter. There's the story, and that's where you kind of explain the project itself. This is a book I'm making, and this is why I'm making it, and this is kind of a general idea what it's about, and that's followed by a couple pages of examples of interiors or something like that. And after that, you've introduced yourself and your project.
And that's what the money is for section usually. Yeah.
Hold on, we're getting there. Okay. This is usually you kind of explain about, and then you get into the rewards. Like if this project interests you, here are the items available on this bookstore. You can get a digital version of the book. You can get a physical version of the book. You can get a signed and drawn in version of the book. You can get the book and a lanyard and pins and a t-shirt and a map. You could and those are the rewards. That's like kind of the fun part about Kickstarter is you're not just buying the one thing. There's all these different rewards available.
They sweeten the deal often.
Yeah. And the rewards are tricky because you don't want to have too many variations. You don't want to have too few. You want to have, I usually like to say between 10 to maybe 15 max, right? And again, this all kind of depends on the project. And then after that, you go on to add-ons. So Kickstarter now goes, okay, you bought the book, and now you can add on, even though you're not buying a reward that has a lanyard, maybe you can add on the lanyard, and you can add on a canvas, and you can add on this other book that this person worked on. Then you have budget, where all the money's going. You have timeline, how close you're to being done this project, when it's getting printed, when will it be delivered. And I think that's about it. Those are kind of the sections to play around with.
Herman, you're magnificent. You look so glamorous.
Pop, you're a gas.
Please, fans, no autographs.
After having built all this for Direbeast, with Lyndon, heavy emphasis on Lyndon's help, I reopened up my next book's Kickstarter, which I haven't played around with in a while, and kind of redid it with new fresh eyes. And I just wanted to work on something that I knew I had out. It's I had 100% control on this, but there's all that consideration that weighs you down.
But why? Why am I? But here's the thing: you know all these other people.
Yeah.
They're not like strangers. So, and they know you and they trust you,
Yeah.
I think. So why do you worry about that?
Maybe that's why. Because
Right.
he's an empathetic man.
But you
You
honestly,
don't want to let them down.
well, of course not. But I think that you should learn to trust your instincts, and maybe you'll find this when you do the one for Spark Chasers. But trust your instincts. You know, do what you think is right, and then hope that they'll be okay with it.
And I think all those things, like, yeah, like I trust myself at this point, and I like know what my skill set is, but it's even like I find that with client work as well. I don't find like I'm getting 100% my best work because I'm always that nagging, like, is this the right thing for the group? This not, you know, it's the right thing for you and the right thing for the project and the other people involved. Like those are two slightly different things a lot of the times, and sometimes they're drastically.
It can be the danger of averages too, right? And you know, if you are trying to figure out what the average thing that people want is, then and if there's 3 people, then the average is this fourth idea that doesn't apply to the 3. You know,
And you're right, like, because when we work on projects together, this is a lot less of a, well, you're very easily accessible. So if I have any doubts about how this is coming along or how I can text you, you can text back, and like project solved. But because there's 14 people, you know, I have no idea what the person in, you know, Saskatchewan thinks, or the person in BC, what they think about it. And there's no way to really get that feedback until it's far too late.
yeah, and because you're working at a pace, right? That you can't. It's not that you don't care about people's feedback. It's that if people's feedback is not instant in that moment, it cannot be used. We're already 4 steps down the production chain by the time that feedback comes. It's too late, right? So that can be sometimes misconstrued as you don't care about why didn't you ask me, or if you asked me, why didn't you do it?
Right. Yeah, I guess so. I just feel like if you just try not to, the less you worry about, the better. And I've definitely experienced this as well, and especially with my classes. Like I'll be getting a class ready and go, are all the students going to think this is stupid? I have a crisis of confidence every time I talk about radio in class and try to teach this as a profession. I'm like, is this still like, honestly? But you have to kind of have the confidence in yourself to press forward. It's like fake it till you make it, kind of. But it's like, because otherwise the whole product can be watered down.
And I think that, like, I think it's healthy. It's mentally healthy to have that imposter syndrome, because when you don't have it and you're too confident in your skill set, then you don't think there's anything left to learn or improve or get better at.
Yeah, let's take a moment, dear listener, and recognize that Justin didn't say, I didn't care about what anyone thought. I knew better.
Yeah.
Right? Instead, he was tempered by, I hope this serves everybody's interests because we're doing it together.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's healthy, right?
I think so.
I don't think you should seek to escape that feeling, except in that the place to release it is in a project you can control completely.
And yeah, I'm really happy that the next project, like next couple of projects, are fueled, funded, and under 100% my control. Like group projects are great. This is an especially big group project. I like smaller group projects, I think. But it's nice to be able to move on to one of those. I think if all I was doing was anthologies, I don't think I'd want to do that. There's too many moving parts.
Yeah, so shout out to all of you editors who've ever managed an anthology.
Man.
I mean, some editors, all they do, right, is put together anthologies, right? So
yeah, that's that old adage about herding cats, right?
Yeah.
One of the ways in which we have found to manage projects like that, like we did with Dead Work, and like we've done with Snow Troll's Daughter and Red and See-Through, and we have very reasonable expectations of the individual work. And we try not to decide the project's happening until the work is done. You know, kind of what was great about Dead Work is there was no question about whether the work would be finished. It was already finished.
Yeah.
So now we knew that if you had the finished work, putting a book together is so much easier than chasing people to finish the work on deadline. And so then Dead Work becomes, what is the smallest amount of work that you can ask for somebody because of course we're not paying a page rate like in a typical sense. People are basically, it's like a mutual fund comic where everybody has a share in it, and the high tide will raise all the boats, right? And so what's the amount of work that someone is willing to do over the course of a year where they get to just play and have fun, and if it works, great, and if it doesn't work, no big deal, I got to draw what I wanted. And so that's kind of where that 10-page, up to 10 pages, 10 pages was the max. You could send 2 if you wanted, you can send 4 if you wanted, whatever you had time to do, we would accept. And that year timeline seems like enormous amount for 2 to 10 pages.
Black and white.
Yeah, but it's not if the scope of the project is we're making a weird thing. We're not doing a law of averages. This isn't, horror stuff. Horror is popular, but it's very niche-y, right? So you have to find the right place. So not having too big of an ask for people in your anthologies. So dear listener, if you're planning one and you're trying to figure out when to announce it, have your art finished. Have 80% of the book laid out. Mm-hmm. Be relying only on getting someone to do your introduction, getting some pull quotes maybe, doing some final graphic design. Those are the things you should be racing to deadline with, not the content itself. Because then you can't confidently launch your Kickstarter and know you can fulfill it.
And it's true, we usually my rule that I made after Dragon Nanny is I don't want to launch another Kickstarter while the book is still being made, or I want to be able to do the campaign and only concentrate on the campaign and finish the book after. We're not doing that with this one. We're still working on the book as the campaign's undergoing. But actually, so benefit...
Layout, design, and production, though.
Yeah.
Not content.
Not content. Yeah, content's all finished. And it feels less burdensome, the advertising and the getting the word out about Diary, because we do have 14 people on this. Mm-hmm. So I know, even though I didn't make an Instagram post today, I'm going to make one later. Sam and Lyndon made one this morning. And
I did a couple already.
Right. Yeah. And part of my, on my list of things to do today is to pre-make a whole bunch of ads for the campaign. Greg and I are off to Ottawa, so we've got some time to kill in the airport. I'm going to make some pre-loaded ads throughout the campaign. And if everybody's kind of doing that, the chances of this, succeeding and being a big deal, much, much better than just one person.
Yeah. And social media has changed. Everything's a pay or play scenario now. If you want to be seen, it used to be that the people following you could see it. But a lot of internet pundits are talking about how the age of the follower is over. And so now maybe 10% of your content, if you're posting online, is seen by the people who follow you anyway. So refreshing and repeating and kind of shouting from the rooftops feels so disingenuous, not genuine.
Doesn't the content, doesn't it find people who don't follow you?
Sometimes, but they're not engaged to take action then on something like a Kickstarter, right? You need your regulars who trust it and know that you will follow through on a project like that. And so
newsletters are so useful. I don't like newsletters, but God, they work.
I like one newsletter. I only receive one newsletter about podcasting or radio, and that's it. But it is a very good newsletter, and I would say, when they're done well, newsletters could be excellent. Yeah. So that is a good idea. But the thing is, not everybody likes getting them.
No, everyone likes getting them. And if you're signed up for more than, if you're keeping track of a few things, I get about 7 newsletters. Yeah. And 4 of them are from people whom I love and admire, and so that's easy. Yeah. Right. Cool to check up on and call them up and say, hey, congrats on your thing. But 3 of them, sometimes it feels like homework. And if I had more than that,
Well, every business who gets your email is that's the first thing they're doing is adding you to their newsletter list.
Whoa.
Yeah. Hundreds and hundreds.
As we say in business, let's not start scratching till we know where the fleas are biting.
Why don't you speak about the downside of Kickstarter and the automated responses you have?
Oh, yeah. So, dear listener, if you ever decide to make a Kickstarter, here's something you should expect and be warned against is even before you start a campaign, you build a campaign and you can make a launch page. And this is just an icon, like a picture of your project and a brief write-up, and it just goes into the upcoming projects section of Kickstarter. And so they can't see anything other than that. And
most crowdfunders zoop to everything else. They all do the same kind of thing. You can have a coming soon page.
it's a coming soon. So what you'll start to get is these people is a strong term. These bots who will start to message you about how they have a lot of experience on Kickstarter and how they can help your campaign reach more people, and how they think yours looks especially interesting and they really want to help you out. And I'm not exactly sure how the scam works anymore, but back in like 2021 when I ran Dragon Nanny, what I heard was these people who pretend like they're companies will tell you they're going to take over the campaign, and what they need to do is basically they need to take control of the campaign itself to run it properly.
Give us your login.
Yeah. And then the money is going to go to them. And then once they've been paid, the rest of it goes to you. And so they basically get control of the flow of money, and then they don't give you everything at the very end.
And they're saying
give you anything.
So, and how they sell it, how they preface it is, running a Kickstarter is very difficult. Here's 4 or 5 different Kickstarter examples where people didn't calculate the shipping and they ended up owing money. They didn't have...
They scare you, right?
They scare you. Are you prepared for the success you're about to have and how many people you're going to let down when you screw it up? And then you go, oh my God, no, I'm not. I've never done this before. I just want to make my little zine. What's happening? And then they say, well, we'll handle all of that so you will be professional and you can just worry about content. But in order to do that, we have to be in charge of the campaign. And then they really do push it hard. They buy ads. They make it as successful as possible so that they get the most money in their
an ad agency, basically, for your Kickstarter campaign.
The problem is that they hook it up to their bank account instead of yours, and then the money comes in from Kickstarter to them, and then they get to add fees, hidden fees, all the way into
the Hollywood accounting. So that's like an extreme version of this that you'll encounter. A lot of people will just want you to pay to, they'll tell you that they'll be able to make your campaign go to the top of, the section, right? If here's the comics, they'll make it more searchable. They'll do this, they'll do that. So you just get flooded. Like I'm looking at my messages right now, and today I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 messages, and they all kind of have the same tone. So Kickstarter.
Why don't you read one?
You want me to read one?
Sure.
Read one. Just for the sake of argument.
So for whatever reason, they all start with a message just saying hi, and that is a message by itself. And I think that's...
Hi. I hate that, by the way.
Yeah,
that's a
so...
pet peeve of mine. Yeah. If anyone just texts me hi, I do not respond.
It feels like phishing.
It does.
Right. Yeah. So this next one starts with hello is the first message.
A little bit better.
Okay, payment after campaign success. I'm Victor, a crowdfunding expert and experienced professional in Kickstarter campaign projects. I know
Victor's name has been changed to protect the innocent.
Yeah. I know you already had a bit of what Kickstarter has to offer. It is a great platform to raise funds and see your dreams come to reality. But lately, creators like you have been very scared of putting their money into marketing their campaigns to success. Avoid taking the risk of what will not yield the expected result. You might also have the fear of which professional to trust, who will take your money and do shabby work, or who won't do the work at all. I have good news for you.
You can trust me.
Oh, my goodness.
I am here to offer my services for free to help you achieve success in your campaign, but here's the deal. I get a commission after your project is fully funded.
Doesn't sound like free for me.
Yeah. Interested in this offer? Want to know the next step? Kindly hit me up at blah, 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 and let's get started right away. So here, he probably just sits back and doesn't do anything and then demands money after.
Yeah.
For sure. Or like you said, hooks up his bank account to the whole thing. Now, the one thing I noticed when I did the FanQuest Kickstarter back in 2017, I would get messages from people saying, hey, great Kickstarter. If you support mine, I'll support yours. Do you get that?
Yeah, and that's a little more like I actually did a handful of those when it made sense. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you can tell when people are just sending that to every single other Kickstarter campaign.
But we had a little bit of that on Deadwork where people said, we also have a horror comics anthology. Can you shout ours out and we'll shout yours out?
Yeah.
And all you
obviously
do,
we will. Yes.
Yeah, that's
for
cool.
Sure.
And it was just a matter of pointing it out in the newest update. You know, when you put out a Kickstarter update, like, and we also like we saw this cool project. You might want to check it out too, right?
Yeah, it's like a social media platform within Kickstarter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if the flavor matches, that makes sense. But when someone's like, "Hey, I am also designing a fishing reel, and would you mind sending it to your Kickstarter backer list?" No, you know.
So I think that's what I've done. Like in the early days of Kickstarter, it seemed like actual, you know, people trying to do this, and now it's automated bots, right? Like the second I hit launch, like I got a couple of these messages. Like it's just, yeah, it's all automated at this point. The phishing. So yeah, just know if you're going to launch a Kickstarter campaign that there is a lot of scamminess that comes with it.
And don't be upset at the scamminess. No. Just know.
Just the nature of the internet. These
When you
days.
go into the rain, you're going to get wet, right? So there's some weather ahead if you're launching a Kickstarter.
I would say I was tooling around with Fiverr a little while ago. You guys familiar with Fiverr? And I just kind of looked. I was going to try doing some voiceover work and stuff on there.
Nice.
And I got a little bit of that too. A little bit of like scammy emails and messages from people right away.
You're now on fire.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And I'm like, oh no, never mind. But I do still want to kind of experiment with that and see where I can go with that.
Yeah, I think you have a
Interesting.
voice for
Thank you. I get told that all the time.
Yeah.
And I've never done anything with it. No, just joking. That was on the news. I used to do the news.
Didn't we toy around with the idea of you doing an audio version of Automatic Age?
No, I think I was going to get you to do it because you should be reading your own book. But
your voice is better.
But
Let's
you are the
face it,
author.
I'm a little Kermit.
I know you're Kermit the Frog, but some people like Kermit the Frog.
Yes, but not reading them a horror story. I think.
14 hours.
Maybe. Anyway, I would be honored to do that, but I think you could do it yourself as well. So.
Dear listener, should Dan read portions of the Automatic Age to you?
I mean,
Let
I
us
could just,
know.
I have it at home. I could just read it into a microphone. We could see how it sounds.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Read chapter 1.
Okay.
And then we'll post chapter 1.
Sure, we can do that as
The
an
podcast
episode.
and then we'll get some feedback from people. And there's a couple of voice actors that I know of who are professionals. We'll send them that chapter. I'll send them and say, Dan's looking to get involved in this. What are some,
Okay.
what are some resources he should have?
Okay.
That'll be a good way of low key practicing.
I thought you were going to say have them do roles in the.
No.
We're not going to get that complicated.
We'll get complicated later. What I'm saying is
That's radio play, I think.
yeah,
well, I mean, but some people for audiobooks, some people do that.
I do, and
Like they really get into it.
it can be awesome,
Yeah.
but maybe not necessary.
No.
And also, if what you're just trying to do is have fun and be creative, this is a easy way to try it.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Let's do it. All right.
We've gotten 2 backers while we've been talking, guys.
Sweet.
It's exciting.
Dear listener, it makes it seem like what we were talking about was working, but no, it's what we did yesterday was working.
Wowie zonk. This is just like the launching tower at Cape Kennedy.
Okay, speaking of what's working, what I'm excited about, like the last time I did a big book Kickstarter was like the lockdown was still kind of in effect, and Comic-Cons weren't as bombastic as they are these days. So Greg and I, after this podcast, we're going to pack up and we're off to Ottawa for the Ottawa Comic-Con. And
So I know where
we're
this is
going to
going,
be able to promote Dire Beasts in person to people at our table.
Posters are packed.
We have posters of it. We have QR codes that go directly to the Kickstarter. And so what we need to kind of figure out, and we don't have a real firm plan on this, is how to convert people who are at our table, who like our stuff, who have been buying our stuff, to pre-order the book.
Is this crazy? Dan, I'm going to use you as an example. Let's say you're interested in one of the prints that I have at the table, and the prints are $25. I think our books are $25.
Our books are $25.
If you were there and I said, hey, this horror thing you're interested in might be right up your alley, we're doing this Kickstarter. If you back it right now, you can walk away. That's the money that...
See, that's what I was thinking as well. Like,
This
you
is
get a
yours
free
now.
print. So the risk there is you might just do that to get this guy to go away and then immediately unfollow. Like,
follow.
You lost me.
Like you could, for example, say you're backing the campaign and then before it funds or after it funds, withdraw your...
Oh,
and you have a print out of it. But I like to think that our supporters are more discerning and honest than that.
But
So
you
I'd
can't
like to
really,
reward
you can't really know that until, that's a risk you're going
I'm
to
willing
take.
to be burned.
I think so too. I agree. Like the people that we interact with at Comic-Con, by the time this conversation is had, I think you'll know
And regulars, like it's a real easy sell, I think, for a regular.
For sure, because you can trust them. So the promo is buy, support our Kickstarter and get a free print.
And that equal or lesser value off the table you can walk away with right now.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Trade you for the support.
So if they were to like buy one of the more expensive tiers, like Zach's $100 original sketch,
then I give them a $100 credit at the table.
oh,
Like
that's
because-
a deal. That's
because
a bargain.
That's what I think too.
Oh.
And then it immediately helps the 14 other people in the project. It's my way of tangibly driving some support, because the long term, like, and those of you with business hats that are saying why would you do that, the relationship that can be built from a book, I find, is much stronger and more long term than the relationship from a single image. And so if we can show people that the work is good, it is strong, and they like it, then those 14 other collaborators maybe have fans for life, right? And so it's like a tangible way of saying, like, I believe in this project and I believe in these people. So take a chance on me.
Yeah, that works.
But does it sound too good to be true? That's the problem with it.
So my only twist was because this is like it's a monster horror anthology. I was going to offer. I've got a couple horror themed prints at my table, and those would be the freebies that you would get.
Yeah.
I'm primarily scary stuff.
It's true. Yeah,
But I would give it like a certain limit, like not saying everything, but from this section, you can choose any print from this section. I think people need to have a little bit of a, like, otherwise it does seem too good to be true. So say, okay,
set of prints.
yeah, like, and you have a lot of monster stuff, so you could make it anything really.
But I really want us to come home heroes. Like once the Ottawa show starts up, this Kickstarter campaign like takes a couple leaps and bounds before the show is over. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah. And it's a hybrid. Everything we do at this studio is a little bit hybridized, but the goal of Kickstarter is like, you don't have to leave your home and you can get your project funded. And we're doing the opposite. We're like, we're going to leave our home and try to get the project funded.
Well, and before the podcast as well, we were talking about how like the state of advertising is just in such a crazy, weird flux, and it's just it's there's a lot going on right now. But like that in-person advertising, tale as old as time. It's
Face to face.
yeah.
Have you seen other people doing this at cons with their Kickstarters?
I have seen other people advertise their Kickstarters at conventions.
But not actually like getting people to buy it?
And maybe like
Someone whose name will remain unspoken had I thought a misstep. I showed up and I saw this great work. I was like, oh my God, this new work of yours is fantastic. I'll take it. Oh, well, that's only available through the Kickstarter.
so they
you
have
wanna
like
sign
like a dummy copy, like a sample.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh,
And so if you sign up, then you can take it. Or you can't take it. You can just, you can back it and thank you very much. And I was like, well, but the work is finished. It's here in front of me. Why didn't you bring some now? Like there's
They need the money to print the stuff first.
well, but in this specific instance, it was 3 different prints.
Oh, okay.
Right. So they were already printed. They were right there. And so you could have sold it to me, but you didn't. You're trying to drive traffic. And it felt like a disconnect of, do you want it? You can't have it unless you go here. I would prefer someone saying, oh, this looks great. Amazing. You like this work? Would you like to have it for no money?
if you back the Kickstarter.
If you back on Kickstarter, I'll let you pay no money. You'll pay the same money, but you get to walk away with something today. And I'll pick, I think, things that are very. We have a vampire story in Dire Beasts. We have a dragon story. I have some prints that are very obviously self-selectors. If someone takes something and they're into it, it'll be easy to say, hey, I'd love to give that to you if you support these 14 people.
Put it that way. I think that's a good way of phrasing it. Because you're like, hey, if you like this stuff, you're going to love this Kickstarter. And maybe they're like someone who had never purchased a book from you before. And this might be the first book they would get. So.
Or never purchased a Kickstarter.
Oh, that's true.
So, yeah, that's the other thing. And so my mom actually has a story in this book, Norma and the Raptors. It's about an old lady at the grocery store. And there's also raptors at the grocery store.
Based on a true story.
And so when this campaign went live, my dad called me and asked, he's got a YouTube page, Curry Country Living, and he does stuff, and he's like, how can I promote this? How can I advertise this? And he helped it. My last Kickstarter he promoted on his like socials as well, but the problem was people weren't familiar with Kickstarter and didn't necessarily want to make a Kickstarter account just to buy this one thing and never go back, right? So I think something that we're going to do with this book, and what you should do if you're doing a Kickstarter as well, is once the project is funded, or once it's 100% going to happen, have an option B to purchase it for people who don't necessarily want to do it through Kickstarter. So
yeah, our hope is as soon as we meet our funding goal, we now can offer, because the book is going to be made, we can now offer another place for someone to buy it just from our regular web store.
And on your regular website, you can pay through PayPal or credit card or whoever else. Like Kickstarter is great, but you do need to like set up an account, and it's pretty easy. But some people just, they have no interest in Kickstarter. They only want the book.
And there's a lot of account fatigue.
Yes. God,
Fair enough. I mean, use Google to sign up for everything. That's kind of what I do. So
7-Eleven wants you to make an account and collect points now.
Anyway, this is a great segue. So we're launching Gregory Points.
You know, Eddie, I was so far ahead of the pack, the crowd had to run after me with torches to show me the finish line.
We've been talking about consideration for others and how it affects your project, sort of like the pleasant version of knowing the pressure of the crowd. Do you feel any at all pressure from actual audience members, from actual fans to do right by them?
The pressure is more I feel like I've let them down when I don't have like a new book, right? That always
So you're doing the work by you're holding up your end of the bargain, basically.
That's where like I trust my skills and my illustration, and what I do I know can be like is going to make people happy because it's the thing I've been doing for a long time. It's more the finish line. Is it done in time for them? That's where the pressure comes in. I want to have, for next year, I need to have a new art book. I need to have Dire Beast ready. I need to have some new posters ready, because when a big show happens and those people who bought everything new at my table last year come back again and go, what's new? And I don't have anything to show them. Like, that's my fear. That's my biggest disappointment.
Right. It's that you have promised them to do your best, essentially, by making work that is your best. And so you've got to keep that up.
It's the output. Yeah.
Yeah. Does the pressure of that output get to you?
Well, I think it gets to me, and that's a good thing. I think it keeps me going. Like, it keeps me making stuff and active. And
so you feel accountable to those people then?
Yeah.
I don't mean to put words in your mouth. I am literally putting words in your mouth when I say, so you feel accountable. Is that how you feel? That's how I should have phrased it.
Yes. Yeah. I need to make new work, or they'll be sad.
I think they'll be okay, honestly, but that's my opinion.
Well, that's the other part of me is like, you could take a break, right? Like, you've done enough, like, slow down, like, go a couple months without making things. But like, I don't want that. I don't want that to happen.
That's artist brain. That's the artist in you saying, no, how can help? Let's make new clouds, Justin. Yeah. Let's make new clouds. We've got so much stuff coming for October that my fear right now is sticking the landing on all the different parts.
You have so many projects on the go.
And they're all really good, and I'm really excited about all of them. And while it feels like divided attention as you try to bring them to the convention in the style in which they deserve, they were not divided attention projects. Like, a year ago, we worked really hard for 5 months on one thing, and now we're at this finish line where it just turns out that the printing is coming up around October. And because October is my home show, it's easy to have lots of stuff available and bring it all there. I don't have to ship it. I don't have to haul it around. And I have a really nice, marvelous fan base, supporters here that I can rely on. And so that's who I kind of want to show it off the best to. But because there's so many collaborators involved, I feel that consideration part now. For example, I have an all-ages project called the Charlatan that is ready for print. I did it with Zach Schuster. I teeter on, should we kickstart? Like, we're ready. Is that a better way to do it? But it's also so close and personal for us that no, I think we're just going to do it. We don't really, it's not that we wouldn't like other people's help. We just we don't want to delay its release any longer.
And if it was 100% you, what would you be making different decisions?
Would your considerations be different, is what he's saying?
Yeah, would my considerations be different? Yes.
Yeah.
If it was just me, I'd probably wait.
You'd shelve it for just a little bit.
Just a little bit longer, because I also have Once Lands, my new novel, to be promoting. But because Zach Schuster is the illustrator and colorist on the Charlatan, I don't want him to wait.
Right.
Right? That means that now he's waiting to be able to benefit from all his hard work. And, so you can't do that.
But here's the other thing that actually the event, the lockdown kind of taught us is people are excited if you have 1 or 2 new things, and they're excited if you have 9 or 10 new things. Because after we came out of the lockdown, you had, 6 new books ready for consumption?
That's true.
And people are just as excited this year when you have 2 new books ready for consumption.
They just want something new, right? That's really what it is, yeah.
I also have been noticing, while we're on this topic, that books, like more writing, less pictures, have been doing better and better from my table.
Yeah.
It's always something that I've been passionate about working on. But there is, I don't know, I am not I'm not measuring the wind, but it does feel to me like a change has occurred in young people, and there are more young people seeking out books.
Yeah.
Books.
Good.
Everyone decries the idea like, oh, they're just being eaten alive by TikTok. I feel like that's probably true. And I think they've gone through the cycle, been through the ringer, many young people, and they are now looking for complete focus entertainment.
And you can say this with some authority because as a Manitoba publisher, you're one of the bigger ones.
Well, I don't know about that.
You move more books than...
We're direct. We have built up... It's what Justin was talking about earlier with that consideration. I also feel beholden to have something for the people who have supported me.
Yeah.
People who've shown up every year. I want to do right by them. And as a result of that, in order to meet that demand, I've expanded to work with reliable collaborators in order to have sort of more interesting projects. And I'm also somewhat addicted to the channel switch. Like if I'm working on a horror project, my next thing I want to be all ages. I want to be completely different. Marketers will say, no, you got to sell the same thing, do the same thing, don't change.
When something works, yes.
Yeah, just keep doing it. Fine, but then I'll die inside.
Yeah.
And since I don't want to die inside, instead I am doing lots of different stuff. So that bears the consideration of those people's time and energy and attention. So I'm trying to do right by that, and then also the audience, and then also be creative, and then also, be able to be interrupted by my family that's like, come out of the basement and stop working all the time. Come and live, be alive, right? So all that stuff tangles up together.
It's a balancing act.
It is a balancing act.
Yeah.
One of the things we'll do on a future episode, dear listener, is we'll get a number of members of Dire Beast to come and share what their considerations are related to the project, because all of them have dozens of projects also that they can speak about.
We should time that with the getting all the rewards together, signed, packaged together. We'll make a whole day of it. We'll get as many of them.
Well, that'll be
as we
fun.
can.
Yeah.
And we'll make that's another thing I always look forward to when you do a Kickstarter. You have a lot of shipping at the end. It's like it's a whole operation that needs to be
fulfillment.
Yes.
Days. Yeah, they're actually pretty fun.
They are super fun.
A lot of takeout food and manual labor, but
once you have the basics figured out, can be a lot of fun.
Yeah, can be good. And we sketch and everything, so it's like boring, draw.
Yeah.
Boring, draw. So that part's good. Dear listener, thank you for listening to us as we have perhaps belabored the point about Dire Beasts and Kickstarter a little too much, but we love making stuff and we love sharing it with you. And this is Gregory Kamichuk encouraging you to join the fight and make comics.